Hello, my name is Eric Schneider. I'm the Director of Business Development with StraightUp Solar. Thank you for joining us tonight for our solar webinar on the 2025 Illinois Solar Policy Updates. I hope everyone is safe and warm tonight. You know, we're in the valley of winter, but sunny days are ahead, and we're really excited for you to join us to talk about the bright future for solar and the discussions that are going on in the Illinois General Assembly to assure solar's place in the Illinois energy landscape. So with that, let me give you a little background on StraightUp Solar. We were founded in 2006 by our main speaker tonight, Dr. Dane Glueck. He started with a solar array on his home back in 2006. And now, almost 19 years later, we're up to 3,000 installations and 65 megawatts installed across Illinois and Missouri. We do residential, commercial, industrial installations. We also do battery storage, smart panels, and EV chargers. And we also care for those systems after we install it. We don't walk away like many other companies. We're here to care for your system long-term. We're really proud to have almost a 20-person service team to help people, making sure that they're continue to generate solar energy on their home or business here. We're considered an EPC, which means that we do it all from soup to nuts. We do it from design, engineering, procurement. We handle the permits, we handle the installation, and then we handle the everything to get you installed and up and running with the utility company here. All you have to do, sit on your couch or sit at your desk, and we'll handle it all for you as a turnkey solar installer here. We also do asset management, handling service and maintenance for portfolio owners with large systems all across Illinois and Missouri here. I'm proud to work with over 120 employees, 50% who have the NABCEP certification. That stands for the North American Board of Clean Energy Professionals. And whenever any solar company you look for, ask who their certifications are, who they're affiliated with, and what type of level of expertise. And I'm proud that 50% of our employees have that level of expertise here. A couple other associations that we're going to mention throughout this program here. We're really proud to be part of an 80 group cooperative. 80 solar companies just like ours with the same values, the same ability to be local in their communities. That allows us to purchase at a group rate. That means that we can pass on those lower costs to you through the group purchasing. And also we share best practices, whether it's best practice of installation or marketing. It's all part of the Amicus Solar Cooperative. Again, 80 companies all across the United States. So if there's somebody you know who lives in a different state, give us a call. We can connect you with an Amicus cooperative member here. We're also really proud to be a certified B Corporation, only one of 8,000 companies all across the world that strive to make sure that business can be the best it can be for people and planet here. And balancing people and sustainability above our profits is what one of our core values here at StraightUp Solar. We just finished our recertification this year. We've been recertified twice. So really proud to join kind of the big name companies like Patagonia, King Arthur's Flour, Method Soap. So again, whatever decision you make in the marketplace, you want your values to be reflected, and we're really proud to show our values as a certified B Corporation here, which leads us to our internal values, what we call our clear values: care for our community, lead the energy transition, educate everyone, advocate with purpose, respect people and planet, and embody excellence. Today's webinar, and again, thank you very much for joining us and being part of the discussion, are going to hit all these clear values here, and we hope we provide an excellent presentation to you. So today's speaker, again, I'm honored to work with these two great kind of legends in the Illinois and Missouri solar industry here. As I mentioned, Dane had the vision to found this company in 2006 from just a simple array on his house. Had a couple buddies, and he's grown it now to 3,000 installations across Illinois and Missouri. When he built that array on his house, he was the first NABCEP certified PV installer in Missouri. So pretty amazing to pull out the book, become certified, and then install it in your own house, all while being an active orthopedic surgeon. Dane is also very knowledgeable in the policy arena, was the founding member of the Missouri Solar Energy Association, and served as its president for 4 years. And he'll start with his outlook and perspective on the solar industry. Then he'll turn it over to Shannon Fulton, Vice President of Preconstruction. Shannon oversees StraightUp Solar's collaborative pre-construction process, including project management, permitting, interconnection, and incentives. And for this conversation, she is the board vice president and policy co-chair for the Illinois Solar Energy and Storage Association, board secretary and policy committee member for the Amicus Solar Cooperative. So as you hear from tonight's presentation, Shannon has a great level of expertise advocating at the federal level for solar and at the state level for Illinois. So again, it's a great honor for me to work with these people. They have a knowledge and expertise of almost a decade of solar experience in the world here. We're going to cover solar's bright future, talk about the Illinois legislative and regulatory policy outlook, and leave you with some things that you can do to help grow solar in your community. And again, I will be watching the chat for the question and answer session. And so with that, let me turn over to our founder and president, Dr. Dane Glueck, to give their perspective on the bright future for solar.
All right. Well, good evening, and very happy to be with you all tonight. And for my bio, maybe I need to add legend, though that might be a bit much, but I appreciate the intro, Eric. I will tell you all that I do consider Fulton a bit of a legend with the work that she's done for us as well, too. And I'm looking forward to her insights that she will share with you all for Illinois in the future and how we're navigating that space together. As far as bios go, one of the things I'd like to say is that, there are the different things that you saw there, but I like to think of what my kids think of me, and I would say that is 3 bullet points. The first is a dad, and that's how I show up in this world in the effort to honor my kids in the future and do the right thing for them, and really honor how we care for each other in the big picture in the long term, and that's one of my guiding principles. I'm also a bone doc and continue to practice and try to care for humans in that way. And then I'm a solar believer now for 19 years, and really very proud of this company that we've built together. And what I want to talk about today is a big picture look on why solar has made sense historically, but also why it makes sense today and in the future. And want to recognize that there's a lot of change in our world right now from a policy standpoint and many other things flying around. I do think things probably feel a bit uncertain for all of us in different ways. And one thing I want to offer is that we can provide and find stability and growth through times of change. And I would offer up that solar has now shifted the paradigm. It is not necessarily the new technology. It is, I think, the better technology that's gaining ground on the other technologies, and now can be the answer in times of uncertainty, where in the past it would have seemed like the new thing to consider implementing, and you were just on the front edge of it. But I think that paradigm has now shifted, and we can see solar in a very different way than when we founded the company 19 years ago. So with that in mind, we talk about caring with our clear values. It is why we show up each day. It's the guiding light, and if we're not taking care of our community, if we're not leading, if we're not committed to respecting each other, we've missed the whole purpose of why we're showing up each day. And then I want to go back to why we even founded this company, and it was basically to provide choice for everybody. And we can break that down into 3 things that we've really relied upon and continue to invest in, and that's better energy. That this actually electric energy produced through solar is truly a better energy source for us, and we'll talk through that a little bit. It's better work, and in that it provides good and meaningful work for people that is local and caring and supports community by building these systems and then being together in the long term. And then it is personal power, meaning that you get to choose where your power comes from, how you invest in it, and how you utilize that power. And it shifts the power source from something external to something that you get to choose. And these are foundational principles that made sense when we founded the company 19 years ago and make even more sense today. And again, I would advocate even during this time of uncertainty, it makes even more sense. And you'll hear about that more in the federal standpoint and in the Illinois, more local, regional standpoint as well, too. So we can go to the next slide here. So when we talk about better energy, for me, that means at least 3 different points here. The first is this is truly better technology that scales. It was good technology 19 plus years ago, but it's even better technology today. When we first installed solar, we were installing 2,000-watt systems, 2 kW. The panels were 175 kW, 175 watts to 200 watts. Now we're typically installing 400 to 600 watt modules, and the average residential system size is well over 10,000 watts or 10 kW. And the meaningful part of this is that it scales to whatever you need it to be. If you have a small roof and you want to offset 30% of your home energy, you can do that. If you have a big, huge building with big energy needs and you want to limit your ongoing costs that you cannot predict in the future. We can fill up a roof, or we can fill up a field with this. So it is scalable to the person and to their business, and it's very different than you just have to take what's given and pay whatever is asked of you. Instead, you get to control that. And again, that is true even more so today than it was back in the day. And so these are constants that have actually shown to be even more true and positive in currently than they have been in the past. It's a cheaper power source. It is the number one new power source on the grid in the United States year over year. For the new power on the grid, about 60% is coming from solar these days. And currently on the grid, about 25% of the total power is renewable energy. So again, the paradigm has shifted. Fossil fuels used to win on consistent power that was low cost. I think that has really changed now, where the best way to supply power to your home or your building, especially when you look at the life of the system, is clearly solar. There's no question about that anymore. It requires an investment, but depending on if you look on the long term, that investment clearly pays itself off. And we'll talk about the incentives and how that works as well too. Um, and then in addition to that, there's stackable benefits, meaning that in addition to scaling to the right size, how you pair this with other technologies creates even a better return on investment. The classic example these days is electric vehicles. Uh, just purchasing an electric vehicle is going to be a better return on investment than a gasoline vehicle. It's just a more efficient bias design. If you combine that with power from your rooftop, and then you're driving on sunbeams, and then you're driving a more efficient vehicle, you get a double return on investment. And these things stack in ways that become very profound from both a bottom line, but also from an environmental standpoint. And then, of course, batteries. And there's a lot of talk about batteries as well, too. And depending on different uh, sources from the power, where that comes from, and the different time of use bills and other things like that, the batteries can be a better return on investment. And people can choose batteries for multiple reasons, whether it's their own energy security or to maximize different billing options, especially as we see the utilities change their billing paradigm. And of course, we've seen this play out in California, and we can see different net metering policies move people more toward batteries over time, and we're seeing this shift. Um, and one thing we'll talk about a little bit is net metering policy, but there's been a lot of discussion about that even in California, where that has shifted to net metering 3.0, which really has shifted net metering to essentially be really decimated compared to what it was. But what has happened is use of technology, but more efficient systems, battery backups has actually now brought the solar California market back up to where it was in 2021 and 2022. The point being is that the paradigm has shifted. The different technology sources, the way you combine them, now mean that we can play a different game than we could in the past. And how we utilize these technology is how we win this game, as far as providing good, resourceful energy for every person for whatever that reason means for them. And then, of course, you combine this with energy efficiency as well too. And it's one of the few places where you can actually be very smart about producing your energy, decrease your cost, and have a better total return on your investment across the board. We go to the next one. And then better work. And, for our clear values, community is first. We always are thinking about our community, and that both means internal and the people that work for us, but also external and who we're working with in our communities. And solar creates local jobs. We're very proud of our long-term 19 years and the 120 plus people we work with, and all those people over that time that have grown up with us and had careers with us. And local jobs matters these days. We want to create local jobs. We want to create careers, and we've invested in our people for their training and the long-term ability to continue to install solar for the long term and be around to care for these systems for the long term. These are long-term relationships from employees to the systems we install. And it means long-term relationships in our community. We've been here for the long run, and we expect to be here for the life of your system. And we want to care for that throughout its entire course. And that's a very different interaction that you have with just simply paying somebody for the power that comes in. That is purely transactional. And we want to move beyond a transactional interaction with people to this collaborative, how do we get a better answer for you? How do we have a better return on investment? And how are we in this game long term to improve your life and improve your return on investment and your energy security? And ultimately, this idea of instead of extracting, we want to invest in our communities. We want to build our people. We want to build systems that are meaningful, and support businesses and feedback into this community, whether it's through training or helping the businesses become more sustainable. All these things create a better work environment and more connection in our community that we're very proud to be part of. And another good reason why solar makes sense today, and that has become more and more true over the course of the time. Go to the next one for me. And then part of the reason why I founded StraightUp was this idea of really letting people choose their why for their personal power source. Um, Historically, when I became interested in solar, I was in Kentucky doing my training, and what I saw was mountaintop removal. I saw decimation of communities. I saw people working very hard. They were harvesting coal from the ground at the same time those mountaintops were being knocked down and pushed into the riverbeds in the same communities they lived in. And there were people working very hard, but they had broken bodies. They had souls that were weary and worn out, and it hurt. And it wasn't because those people were not working hard and were not doing the best for their families, but this was an extractive interaction. And there was a better way back then, and there's even a better way now to do this. And so if you can choose an environmental option that's better, a financial option that's better, something that lets you be independent to make your own choice of where your power comes, you get to own that power. It's local and then it's done at a human scale that makes sense to you, that you get to choose the power and then you get to invest in that. And that's based on something that resonates with you versus a big company just selling you something that's just extractive, that's just a limited transaction. You have multiple reasons why this makes sense for you. And during this time of uncertainty, there's a bit of chaos floating around us. The ability to choose your own power, both the energy source, but your own personal power where you come from, I believe is a quite meaningful choice that we can offer. And solar's continue to offer over this length of time and will only continue to offer more so as we progress in the future. All right, we'll go to our next one here. And I want to end with a few stats here and kind of a picture of where the market has been and where it's going. This is a graph from Wood Mackenzie early this year in January, showing projections for next year. It shows a modest growth of about 8%, which is relatively reasonable given the scale that we're at these days at approximately 44 gigawatts of solar. We believe that this will continue to be a reasonable growth trajectory because of the momentum from the IRA. There's been billions of dollars of investment in communities to produce solar panels, to create battery production facilities, and to train people. And that is not stopping. That investment will continue to play out to allow this growth to occur. We are seeing the residential solar plus storage market continue to bloom and blossom, and other players get into that space to provide different options that gets rid of supply constraints. The cost continues to drop down and gives us more options to back up the power supply for people. And then, of course, there's a high energy demand that we're all aware of these days with the combination of AI and data centers and electric vehicles. The projections for increased energy demand are off the charts. Probably the highest energy expectation growth we've had over the last 20 plus years. And we're seeing response to that by utility increases in their rates. And we think that will only continue to further itself. And if you combine a high energy demand with more need for the energy, then you end up with energy security issues. And that is a tough place, but it also means it's a great place for solar to continue to insert itself as the best answer in front of us right now. And you combine that with more onshoring of our own production of our own modules. It's predicted that about 25% of the solar modules this year and then the coming years, this hopefully will increase as IRA investments continue. But 25+% of the mods will come from the U.S. and from other good sources as well too. So this is this ongoing cycle of investment. We build solar, it's made in the U.S. We build more solar, and this is a positive cycle that continues to support and promote itself. And we think there's a lot of good growth to be had there that will continue to manifest itself. So With that, I will transition over to Shannon to share some of the outlook from the federal perspective, and then shift to Illinois focus.
Thanks, Dane. Great job. I always love hearing that story, your story and perspectives, no matter how many times you share them. So from a federal perspective, Dane mentioned that the IRA was building momentum. That momentum will play out for certain this year and into 2026. But the ultimate fate of the IRA will be determined during budget reconciliation, which is happening currently, and it will technically need to be completed by the end of the year. That's their deadline. So during that process, it will be determined, how much of the IRA tax credits and the IRA benefits will remain. And what we're hearing, and with the conversations that we've had with several Congress members in DC, is that the investment tax credit is not new. It's actually, we heard that the investment tax credit was actually a Republican thing initially. So there is support for retaining the investment tax credit. The question will be for how long? And for what we're hearing, for certain 2025 is safe, and potentially through 2027, but the intention is to sort of shorten the runway that we had with the IRA, which set the ITC at 30% out to 2033. It's likely that will that runway will be shorter. So how short of a runway, we don't know. But we feel generally safe that it will be in place for the next few years. It's likely that there will still be incentives for domestic content, given the intention of this administration to increase our manufacturing capacity. And the tariffs will have an impact as well. That's not really sort of part of this outlook, but I wanted to add it as a factor. The tariffs, will have an impact on pricing for sure. We don't see it as impacting our pricing all that much, but they'll have an effect. And Dane mentioned the increasing electricity demand. And there is certainly a focus on energy security, which supports sort of an all of the above approach to electricity and power generation. And, certainly solar is a part of that mix. It's a significant part of that mix. From an Illinois standpoint, we live, for those of us in Illinois, we're nicely buffered from, some of this uncertainty. Illinois has a really strong incentive program and incredible support for clean energy. And so this helps to protect us a bit from any uncertainty on the federal side. The two key points I wanted to bring forward for Illinois that stand out as very positive are that we have stable distributed generation and storage incentives with the REC, the Illinois Shines program, and the DG and battery storage rebates in investor-owned utility territory. And then while the net metering rule change that happened at the beginning of this year is a reduction in the value of REC, or in the value of net meter credits, it came with certainty. Like we know the change happened at, beginning January 1 of 2025. We know how to model systems with the net crediting having the value of the supply costs only. There is certainty around net metering. There is not this question looming will the utilities try to fight back and pull net metering with little advance notice? So we know what we have going forward, and that certainty is worth something. And along with that net metering change, of course, we have the DG and storage rebates that help to offset some of that lost value in the full retail net metering credits that we had prior. So here are some of the bills that the primary policy initiatives that the industry is involved in. There are others that contribute to increased energy efficiency and environmental improvements, but these are the key bills that the solar industry is working on this session. And they include the primary solar industry bill. You can see the House and Senate bill numbers there. But the things that are included in this bill include slight adjustments to the adjustable block program, the Illinois Shines program. Nothing major, but just some cleanup items. The introduction of virtual power plants. So this is the aggregation of storage and incentivizing the aggregation of distributed storage. That's really exciting. Interconnection process improvements, badly needed, so that we can interconnect all of the solar projects that are in line and lying in wait. And it creates an Office of Interconnection and Renewable Development to handle, more directly within the Illinois Commerce Commission aspects specific to renewables. And then it also, very importantly, establishes a floor value for the storage rebate, the battery energy storage rebate. While the DG rebate has floor values established, the storage rebate did not. So this bill establishes a floor for that storage rebate value as well. And then the Solar Bill of Rights is specific to municipal and cooperative utility policies. The intent is to increase transparency, improve solar policies in general, provide opportunity for customers in municipal and cooperative utility territories to receive the same kind of access to renewable energy that folks that take energy from the investor-owned utilities like Ameren and ComEd. It's an attempt to level up the opportunities for folks in municipal and cooperative utilities. And this has been a long time coming. We've been working at this for a very long time, and we have a significant seat at the table this year to try to fix some of those poor solar policies. And you can see the bills there. We're running it in combination with a larger transparency bill, and then as a standalone as well to try to get it through. The other thing, this is not necessarily a primary legislative topic, but there are working groups and flexible interconnection planning group there and flexible interconnection planning that is happening to improve the interconnection process. So there's a lot happening in combination and in collaboration with the Illinois Commerce Commission, ComEd and Ameren, and various other groups to try to improve and simplify the interconnection process. There's a lot that goes into that, but this is key for us to be able to reach our renewable energy goals for the state of Illinois. And so there's a lot of work happening to improve the interconnection process. And I see that as the primary headwind, interconnection for us. And but I see that really as the only headwind. And while we're interconnecting and, projects are coming online, they're not coming online as fast as they could be.
Shannon, I guess I would just interject here and say that is predominantly for larger commercial projects, which can have a wait time, but typical residential and smaller commercial, not so much. Fair to say.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know, as the solar penetration increases, you know, the queues build and build, but from a residential standpoint, we're still seeing, you know, pretty swift interconnection application review and energization. So that's right. So how can you help grow solar in your community? Lead by example, of course. If you haven't gone solar already, it does not pay to wait. It never pays to wait. And the incentives are great currently. And again, even though some of the federal incentives are hanging in the balance ultimately that are associated with the IRA, again, those incentives are safe through 2025. We have very little reason to believe that anything will change this year. So it doesn't pay to wait. And patronize businesses that have solar, that have decided to go solar. Be an advocate. Get in touch with your local and federal senators and representatives. And if you're in a municipal utility or cooperative utility, lean into that process. Show up and let them know how important you think increasing renewable energy and their mix of sources is to you. And then spread the word. If you have solar, we would be happy to host or happy to help you host a solar open house to help educate others in your neighborhood. And certainly talk to your family and friends about why you went solar and the incredible benefits that it brings to your household or business. And with that, I think we can take questions if we have them.
Hey, yes, thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Dane, for going over kind of the outlook and the bright future for Illinois. Again, thank you all for participating in it. Feel free to contact Dane or Shannon if you have specific questions. You can follow Illinois policy at illinoissolar.org and specifically even on the Illinois Solar for All. Check out our website at straightupsolar.com. We actually have a page on Illinois Solar for All. You can check out our gallery. We have a number of projects that we highlighted in that program. But if you're interested in our portfolio of residential or commercial work or any other questions you have, we have answered for you at straightupsolar.com. This webinar was a second part of a series that previously last month we did a webinar with Annual Errors of the Solar Energy Industry Association and Jonathan Dolan of the Missouri Solar Energy Industry Association. If you're interested in federal policy again and Missouri policy, I suggest you go to our website and check out our past webinar on that activity. So with that, I want to thank everybody for their time and participation. Again, it's always an honor to work with Dane and Shannon. I get to do it every single day. But thank you for sharing your knowledge with our customers. And we will continue to keep you guys informed on policy changes throughout the year through our newsletter, through webinars like this, or again, you can contact me, Dane, or Shannon with any other questions. So with that, I will say that we are concluded for this webinar, unless you have anything else to add, Shannon or Dane, for the time being.
No, thanks for facilitating, Eric. Appreciate it much. Thanks for everybody for showing up.
Thank you.